Loud. We're gonna admit everybody.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're just admitting everybody in.
I will.
So, welcome to our Advanced Canva class. We're going to get started here. As you can see, it is going to be recorded. Today, the presentation is going to be done by Rachel Kramen, a business consultant with Grow, South Dakota, and Olivia DeBoer, program director. I'm Olivia, and then Rachel just waved to you from the chat there.
Hello.
Today we're presenting on the Advanced Canva class. We are currently doing a community needs assessment. These help us design and sustain our programs that support our rural communities. So if you have a chance there, you can scan that QR code and answer that brief survey. We also have the Small Business Digital Ready program going on currently. This course has free courses, mentorship, networking, and grants that are created just for small businesses. So you can also scan that there if you have a chance. I can also put the links directly in the chat. A few reminders before we get started. All participants are going to be muted during the training for the best sound quality. Please enter your questions using the chat feature found in the menu button as you scroll to the bottom of your screen. Questions are going to be answered as time allows. And like I said, this class is going to be hosted by Grow South Dakota in partnership with the SBA. Our trainers are Rachel Kramen and Olivia DeBoer. And then we do have some upcoming future trainings available. We have the cybersecurity class coming up on August 12th and the basics of QuickBook Online coming up on August 27th. We also are interested if you have any suggestions for future trainings. We're always looking for new and innovative ways to provide information to you. You can watch your email for follow-up surveys today, and also today's event will be recorded and sent to you after we are done. All right, I think I will stop sharing and let you go to Rachel.
Okay, I am just gonna share my screen here. All right, Olivia, Kelly, can you see my screen? Perfect. Well, hello, everybody. As Olivia said, I am Rachel Creeman. I am an SBDC counselor. I also work for Grow South Dakota as a technical assistant. And I am going to be talking to you a little bit about a brand kit within Canva. So this is my home screen. And if you're unfamiliar with a brand kit or what a brand kit is, it's really just, it's the color palette, it's your logos, it's the elements that you use all of the time to create that brand awareness and brand consistency. This is a side note, it's not the brand kit, but if you are to go into Canva and you search for brand board, in here there are tons of inspirational, I guess, ideas for branding. So if you see one of these that you like, it'll give the hex colors for your color palette, it'll give fonts, everything that kind of goes together when you're building out your brand. I'm assuming that most of you already have your brand kind of established. But if you don't, that's a good way to kind of get some inspiration. So the next thing that I'm going to go through is the actual brand kit. And if you go to the left side of your screen in Canva and you click on brand, you can see that I use a number of different brands as I'm doing marketing for Grow and for SBDC. I also did build one out for Kelly for Big Idea. Um, but we are going to add a new brand kit. I'm going to teach you how to do that. So I'm going to build out the SBDC one again. This was my test one, so I'm going to build it out again. But to do that, we're going to do add new. And I am going to call this one SBDC Take 3. And I am going to do create. When you do that, it takes you into a menu screen and it takes you really into the building process. Now, right now, since we are in the building process, it's gonna maybe not make a ton of sense until we actually get into building out a template. But what we wanna do is we wanna add in all of the logos that we typically use, the color palette, again, the fonts that we always use, because it's gonna put it in one spot so that you don't have to search for it every time you are creating a marketing piece. So to add logos, we're going to go up here to add new and upload logos. And I have them saved here, and I frequently use the colored and the black logos when I do marketing pieces, and then you just want to upload those in. The next thing we want to do is upload our color palette. So I'm going to hit add new, and then I'm going to, or I'm going to add a new color over here. I'm going to drag over what I use or what the SBDC has created for us here. And here, since the SBDC is a national brand, they have this all laid out for us as far as what colors to use. And in here, they have the hex number. So that hex number is really that color's individual number. We're going to add those in. So I'm going to slide this off just so you can see the Canvas screen, but that is where I'm pulling my information from. I don't have the hex numbers memorized for the SBDC, surprisingly enough. So we're going to go over here to add new color. I'm going to click on that. And then here is where you're going to put in your hex number. So I'm just going to take it right from the page.
Okay. So
and you can see that I have that red in here. Now, if I were to accidentally put the wrong one, you can simply just go up here and delete the color. So I'm going to just quickly add in all of my colors. Sorry, you have to painfully watch me do this, but hopefully it won't take too long. 002D. And then we're going to add in some of the accent colors, and I'll show you why having all these colors in here is kind of fun once you get into the actual process of making a marketing piece. One more. Okay, so now we have all of our colors added into our brand kit. And then we're going to scroll down and we're going to go into the fonts. Now, in here, you can see there are tons of different options. You can use all of these or you can use one or two. What these are for is if you are building out a template and you want to add new wording, if we were to go into the title, you can choose a font and a size, and every time you enter in a title, it'll pull over that font and size, so you have consistency. So for this, I'm going to use this font at size 42, and I'm going to hit save. Now, again, this isn't going to make a ton of sense until we get into actually building out a template. But then I'm going to also show you, I'm going to use the body just because I like the size of that one. I'm going to choose another random font. I'm going to use Louisville. Now, when I enter in this font, when I'm building out a template, it is going to pull over this font at this size. So I'm going to hit check, save. Now, again, you don't have to use all of the other ones. I'm just going to use these two just for the sake of time, but you can build out as many as you want. The next section that I'm going to do is called your brand voice. Now, this one is kind of fun. It gets into AI a little bit. In here, you can write descriptive words about your business. So if you are, let's say, like a live theater, maybe some of your descriptive words could be, boisterous, loud, fun, date night, family friendly, whatever it is, to describe you. So obviously for the SBDC, we're not going to use those words. I prefer you to use words like approachable, if I can type, professional, friendly, and educational. And I'm going to hit save. So again, this isn't going to make a lot of sense till we get into the template, but as a little bit of background, you can use this and the AI will use your voice or those descriptive words to create the wording that you want to help match your branding style. The next piece is going to be photos. So if you find yourself like, for instance, if you're a coffee shop and you use the same cup of coffee picture in every single one of your ads, you can put this in here and it'll be right at your fingertips then when you're creating those pieces. For today, I just grabbed a couple and I'm going to go add new, upload photos, and they should be saved to your computer, the ones that you want to use, just so you know how to upload them. So I'm going to select these two photos and hit open. And they're right there. The next piece will be graphics and or icons. Now, these are kind of interchangeable. I like to think of icons as more of like something more specific to just your brand. I can show you what the SBDC uses for their icons, but graphics are going to be like arrows or shapes or those kind of things that are a little bit more generic. For today, really, it doesn't matter. You can put it in either one. I'm going to use icons just because, again, for the sake of time. So I'm going to click in here and I'm going to add in our icon. So this is what I'm talking about as far as what an icon is. Now these are typical graphics or icons that we use as kind of like a brand awareness for the SBDC. And then the last piece in building out your brand kit is our charts. And I'm not going to build out a chart just again for the sake of time. But if you wanted to build out a chart, if you're constantly showing whatever you need to in a chart, I guess, you can build in your colors, you can build in a certain type of chart that you use all the time. But just know that that is a possibility. So as we're looking at this, we have built out our brand kit. So now I'm going to show you what it actually means to use it. So I'm going to go up here and I am going to go back into Canva and I'm going to search for just a simple flyer. And you can pick whichever one you think you like the layout of the best. I'm going to pick this one just because I scoped them out a little bit before this training. And I am going to customize this so that I can get the SBDC brand colors and the logo and the fonts in there that match our brand. I'm going to close this out right here. And now we're left, as you can see, it doesn't match what a typical SBDC brand would look like if you're going to create a flyer. So I'm going to come over here to the left-hand side. As you're in an actual template or document as you're creating, if you click in here, it'll bring up your brand kits. Now, since I have multiple, up here, you can click on whichever one you want to use. So if I were to use Grow, for instance, it brings up all the colors and logo for Grow. Now I'm going to use the one that we just created. I'm going to use SBDC Take 3, and I'm going to select that brand kit. Now, right off the bat, I know we are not Salford and Company, so I'm going to delete this. And with the brain kit, you have everything right here at your fingertips. So I don't know how familiar everybody is with Canva, but typically you have to go into your uploads, you have to find the logo, you have to scroll down and find the exact one that you want. This now, you have them right here. So I'm going to click here and I want to add in our logo. I'm going to resize it and I'm going to put it back up here because I kind of liked how that looked. The next piece is we're going to go to the color palette. Now in here, you can't select this and change the color within here. What this does is if we click on shuffle, it will change the template so that the colors change along with what we have in here. And if you continue to click it, it will change and give you different options with your color palette. So if I select this one, I kind of like how that looks. I'm going to leave that as is, and I have all of my colors in here. The next thing that I'm going to do is remember we had all of those options for fonts. Well, I only put 2 in. So with these, you can change the font this way manually. So if you click on this and you want this font to be different, you can see it's not the font that we normally use up here. You can go in and you can change it this way. But if you're adding font, which is what we need to do right now, we can add in a title. When we do that, it brings in the font that we selected when we were building out our brain kit, and it brings in the size that we wanted. Now for today, I'm not going to add in a title, but I just wanted to show you how that feature works. So you know that this is for when you're adding fonts to your template, not necessarily to change the font. Okay, the next section is if you look at this right here and you say, I don't really like how this sounds, it doesn't really sound like the SBDC, we're just gonna delete that. And we're gonna go over to generate in this brand voice. If I click here, it's gonna use our brand voice that we built in, and I'm going to put in, write 2 sentences about why someone should use the SBDC. And I'm going to generate. So again, if you're a live theater and you have different words in there, what AI comes up with is going to match, as I'm sure you all know. But if I like how this sounds, I'm going to insert it in here. And when I do that, it's going to use the body or the font that we selected. So it automatically brings in that way. I'm going to make it a little smaller so it fits. Now, again, this isn't something that I would probably keep, but for today, we're going to leave it like that. Now to change the color, remember I can't go up here to shuffle. I do have to color or do it this way, change the color. If you click on this box, you go up to your font color, it will pull up your color palette right up at the top. So I'm going to choose navy for that. The next piece is I want to change out the picture on here. And she's great, but I think I want to use this one. And we're going to remove the background. Again, a fun feature, we can just do a background remover. And we're gonna just make her a little bit bigger. Pull it down. There. And the last thing that I'm gonna do with my brain kit is I'm going to add one of these icons. I'm gonna use the gray one, remove the background again. I'm gonna make it a little smaller and just put it up here in the corner. So as you can see, when you're building out the template, it really has everything that you need to create that brand consistency right here in the brand kit. And you can do multiple different brand kits. The last 2 things that I'm going to quickly show you. So now that I'm in this template, I have to go back into the main Canva screen because I don't want to make adjustments in here. I'm going to click here, close out of here. And if I go back into this brand, here are all my brand kits, but up here You can also build out templates. So if we wanted to keep the template that we just made, and let's say that one was the Empower workshop, and we do multiple workshops, we can use that brand template over and over and over again by creating it here. And then that way you just change out the wording and everything else stays consistent. And then the last piece is just this brand control. So it's really helpful to build a brand kit if you have multiple people touching your marketing pieces. So here you can, if you're the admin, you can lock this so that your team really only has access to the colors that you built in your kit, and the same with the fonts. And then you can also do if you want your teammates to get approval before they publish anything. So yeah, that's building a brand kit. I will stop sharing and turn it over to Olivia.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Does anybody have any questions on building a brand kit before we move on to the next section? I didn't see any in the chat, but if you want to come off mute or put it into the chat, now would be the time to do so. Or if you want to think about it, you can always add it later too. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Next, we're going to talk about editing a photo. We are going to start off again here on the home screen of Canva, and I'm just going to go into here to photo editor. Makes sense, right? And then I'm going to click on upload and upload a photo. I'm going to go into my desktop and click on the image that I want, and then do open. Now we have the photo that I want to edit. Don't tell Maureen and Stephanie that I'm editing their photo on a webinar because I don't know if they would approve. But I'm in here too, so that's all that matters. We're going to go up to crop, and we're going to click on crop. Now with this feature, you can do, free form, original, one-to-one, the 16:9, or some other ones here. So for this, I'm just going to go ahead and click on freeform. This is where you can drag it to fit exactly how you'd like it. So I don't want so much of our bodies in here. I want to kind of pull it up so it's just our lovely faces and heads. And then I'm going to pull it in here more so you can just see, and we're really front and center here. Otherwise, you can rotate. Say you put in a photo that was landscape and then you wanted it to be, horizontal or vertical, vice versa. You can go ahead and pull it in here, and you can see how it rotates that way. Otherwise, sometimes, you give your photo or your camera to your grandma and she takes the photo way down low, and you need to kind of bring it up to a normal perspective. It also gives you the option to do the horizontal or the vertical as well. That works a little better with like a landscape, not so much when you have people in the picture, but it can if it's a little bit more broad. So now that I'm done with the crop, I'm just going to click on done. And it's bringing us back to our main screen of the photo editor. Now I'm going to click on adjust. And you can see at the top here for the adjust, it has different areas that you can select. So you can adjust the whole photo by clicking all. The click option, it's going to take a minute and it's going to decide what different objects are in the image. So if I want to just edit myself, or maybe I just want to edit Stephanie or just Maureen, then that would be a good option as well. Then you have the brush option. This is gonna be so if you just want to edit a certain area, like maybe I just want to edit the Grow logo or, different things like maybe my eyes or hair, then that would be the option you'd want to use for that. The foreground and the background, see, that's going to choose, and say the foreground is us or the background, and that would be, behind us. I think I want to edit all. So I'm just going to go through here and select kind of what I want to edit. So the temperature, the tint, it's kind of like when you're at the eye doctor and they say better, worse, better, worse. That's kind of how I go about editing photos. So the temperature, that's going to be whether you want a warmer or a cooler photo. So this photo, you can tell it was taken under some LED lights. So maybe I want to bring up the warmth in this photo just to be a little warmer, like maybe give the illusion that it was taken under the sun. The tint, that's kind of the same there, darker or lighter. So if you pull it up here, it's going to go darker. If you pull it down, it's going to go lighter, and so on. The brightness, if you take a photo and it's maybe a little shaded outside, you can increase the brightness, or you can decrease it as well. Contrast, it's kind of the same. If you have, bags under your eyes or anything like that, you can increase them, decrease them. Kind of the same with the highlight. You could see where the light hits your skin or your clothing. The shadow is kind of the same. I see back there behind me, you can see there's a shadow. I can increase it or decrease it. And the whites and blacks are pretty self-explanatory as well. The vibrance, maybe your photo was taken on older camera and you're not as vibrant, you can increase that, make the colors look a little better. The saturation is kind of the same way. If you want it to maybe be a little bit warmer, like there's more exposure or less exposure. Oops. The sharpness, if you had like a blurry camera or if there was somebody moving, you could increase that. Clarity as well. Some of the things you have to be aware of when you are editing a photo though, is when you're messing with the clarity or anything, it can kind of make you look a little fake. Or like your photo gets kind of distorted and stuff like that. So you can go down to the bottom here, say you don't like any of it, and you can reset your adjustments. And that'll bring you back to the original photo. Also up here at the top, there's the auto adjust feature. I use that occasionally. It's whatever AI thinks will make your photo look the best. Once you're done with that, you can go back and then you can start looking at the filters. Same thing here. I kind of click through the filters. Maybe you want it to give the illusion that it was taken with an older camera or different lighting and stuff here. Or maybe you want it to be black and white or monotone. Those are some different options. Again, it's just up to your preference. And then here you also get the choice of the intensity as well. So that'll bring it back to more of what your original photo looked like. And then you can obviously drag to make it more intense. Okay, my favorite part here is the Magic Studio. I use the background remover all the time. As you can see here with the little crown, that is the pro version. If you're not aware, you can get the pro version for free if you are a nonprofit. Or you can pay so much per year or per month for it as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the background to this lovely photo. And you can see here, it comes up with the checkered pattern. Now, if I was gonna go ahead and download this right now, I would have just our heads and torsos downloaded and available to use. Now, this newer feature here is the background generator. This is going to put in a background for us. Does anybody have any suggestions of what background we should use? You can put it in the chat there. Maybe you want us to be in a field of flowers or a professional background or something of the sort. A beach theme. That's where I want to be right now. And then you can click on generate. Oh, a city skyline. That's also a good idea. This takes a little bit of time. It just depends on your internet, you know, how long it takes to recognize it, different stuff like that. So you can see here, it gave me 4 options. I'm just gonna click around here. I kind of liked being in the tiki hut. So I'm gonna go back and put us in there, and then I'm gonna click done. Obviously, you can generate whatever you want. I use it sometimes to generate like a professional background, or if I want it to look like an office setting or different things like that. It just depends on what type of business you have and what you want to utilize it for. So then I'm going to click on done. Another thing in the Magic Studio here that I use quite a bit is the Magic Eraser. So if I click on that, it's gonna give you some options here on the areas to erase. So you have the brush, the click, the foreground. And honestly, a lot of the times I use the brush because I think that it gives you the most control of what you are erasing. So you can see the brush size here. It's going to give me quite a big brush. I usually pull it down here so I have a little bit more control. And I use this a lot to erase like small things that are maybe making the picture look maybe a little less professional than it could. So like flyaways here, you can see some of my hair is maybe not, you know, perfect. You can click there and it's going to give you this little blue section. And then if you go to erase, it's going to erase that section from there. So you can see now my hair maybe looks a little better. It's maybe not perfect, but I can go in and erase as much or as little as I want then. Just to show you how the click section works, it's gonna then recognize, you know, who I am, Steph is, and Maureen. So maybe, you know, Stephanie and I, we're booting Maureen off the team. We're gonna click on her and then go to erase. And now it's just Stephanie and I in the picture. Since that wasn't very nice, I'm gonna bring her back though. And up here at the top, you can see the undo button. And there she is again. Okay. I'm not going to go through the Magic Edit, Expand, or Magic Grab right now. They do take quite a bit of time to load usually. And those are just some things that we can explore at a later date if you are interested. Okay, going down to the bottom here, we have the shadow, the duotone, blur. If you click on the shadow here, it's going to give you some different options for the shadow for the pictures. I have used this a couple times on different things like maps. If you have, you know, just a picture of you and you want to kind of outline it when you're putting yourself into maybe another different background or thing like that, those are good options here. As you can see, it kind of changes the picture. It'd probably help if I zoomed out a little bit here for you. The page lift, the angle. It's right now highlighting the whole picture because we have a background on it. But if you wanted to take the background off, it would just highlight you or whatever you have in the picture. You can also go down to the bottom here and see how you can take the blur amount in and out. You can rotate your picture, your background angle if you want something kind of cool like that. Or the intensity of the black color, you can go up or down. If you were to click in the color, then you can go in here and drag it to whatever color you would like that to be. I'm going to undo this again because it is a little hard to see with it. The duotone, it's very similar to if you were to use a filter. You can kind of scroll through here. If you want something to make something look kind of funky or different, that would be a good option. The blur. I use blur a lot too. I think it's kind of cool to highlight different things, such as people. If you were going to do like a profile picture or something for your social media, it is a good option as well. So again, with the brush style, you can do brush and add blur. Brush size, you can bring it up here to bigger or smaller. You see how it's setting there. And then the intensity of the blur, you can go up or down as well. So if you want it to be, maybe more blurred, you could do that. You can see how it blurred there. Maybe you want a little less blur. And then if you want to remove the blur, because you got some on your forehead here, you can just go in and like that and it will take it out. Now, maybe you want to blur the whole image. You're going to use it as a background or something like that. You can click on the whole image and then pull up the intensity or down the intensity. The autofocus is also a good option in the effects. Again, you gave grandma your phone and she took a bad picture. You want to kind of autofocus onto you. You can put it into here and it's gonna see autofocus on me. And then you can kind of change the focus position. So now it's gonna pull here to be more focused on Stephanie. And you can see how Maureen and I are now blurred out. Maybe you want it a little less intense, you can pull it back here as well. And you can see how it's more blurring your background than just your faces. In the photo editing feature, you have the face retouch. Now it's going to pull up here and it is recognizing the 3 different faces in the photo. So I'm going to click on my face here. And then I'm going to pull this to smooth my skin or not. Maybe you have some acne or just different, maybe your makeup wasn't great that day. You can pull and kind of smooth your skin out here or pull it back. Another thing to be aware of with this feature is, again, it can kind of make you look fake if you use it too much. And, you have to be very aware of what the editing tool is doing to your face. So I think this looks pretty good. Does anybody have any questions on the photo editing tool? I see that Kelly put in there that some of the magic tools are available in the free version, but not all. Most of this, what we're showing you today, is probably more available in the paid version than the free. You can get away with quite a bit in the free version. but not everything. So, okay, I'm gonna cancel out of here then, and I'm gonna go and show you the different types of apps then.
Hey, Olivia,
Yeah.
there is a question on where you save the finished photo.
Oh, yeah. So when you're in here and you're done with your photo, you can go ahead and download it. And then when you download it, it's gonna go into up here, your downloads. And if you were to click on it, then it would pull up your finished photo and you can save that into your desktop or anything like that. If you want to save it onto Canva, you're gonna do the plus button and say create design. And now it's gonna pull it into your design here. And then you can go up to the top and retitle the design. And I'm just gonna put Olivia, Steph, and Marine. And then that will be on your home screen of Canva then. So to get back to your home screen, once you're on here, you can go up to the top and do open menu and then home. You can also click on the Canva button, which I believe Rachel showed you before. And then it's going to be in your most recent designs. You can also save them into folders as well by going up to the top here and then clicking on move to folder. And then you can click on the accurate folder. Yep, you can save the flyer the same way too. Yeah. I hardly ever save into specific folders unless I'm working with somebody else. I most always use my recent designs to find different things. One tip I have learned is to name your design. So then when you are like, oh, well, I created that a year ago, you can just type in, maybe Olivia or the fraud class or whatever you are doing. All right. So we're going to go into the apps here. So you can see on the side, you can have Canva AI, brand. We have worked on templates. We're going to go into apps now. So there is not enough time in the world to go through every single app. So I just typed up some different apps that are helpful to me. The AI generation, that's really cool. It enhances your creativity tools with AI generated text, images, designs, and elements. The audio and voiceover I've used as well when editing videos. If you want to talk about the video that's on the screen, that's also good if you do YouTube or anything like that, and maybe the sound quality of the original video wasn't the best. You can go to communication. These kind of help you connect with your audience. You can download and add your photos or videos or anything directly to your Facebook, Instagram. If you have a social media site that helps you put it out across all platforms, we use Social Pilot. You can also connect it there as well. The file and data management, you can connect your Google Drive, pictures, anything like that. Here, you do have to sign into your accounts with all of these. Graphic design, this helps you with the logos, different things like creating a QR code, and everything you can imagine. Marketing, you can boost your apps with different marketing tools. Like you could see some of these across there. You have the QR code here, QR code here. Obviously that's very up and coming on how to create a QR code. photo editing, we kind of just went over that. And project management, if you have a um, social media schedule, you can click on there and put it into there as well. So for today, we're going to focus on two different apps. We're going to do the QR generating code. So I'm going to go ahead and click on generate or gen QR. And I'm going to do use a new design because I don't have a design currently. And I'm just going to scroll down here and I'm going to pick what I want it on. One thing that we have found is that, QR codes are a little bit better received on like a flyer or something physical. Or, even if you had like a PowerPoint that you're projecting onto a wall or anything like that. So I'm just going to do a postcard here. All right, now on the side here, you can see where you are going to be able to put in your URL. For this one, I'm going to use our Grow URL, so I'm just going to type that in here now. Now you can see how it kind of changed the top there to give you your preview of what it is going to look like. If you come down here, you can pick out a template of the different ones you would like. If you want it to be maybe a different color, you don't want it to be blue like that, click on, gray, purple, orange, blue, whatever you'd like. Coming down here to the margin, then you can kind of pull it up here or down. This is going to make your QR code bigger or smaller. Now the background. This is the fill of the background. Right now it is just on the full fill. You could go to the back here and kind of pull it so it's half, anything like that. Colors. You're going to click on here and you're going to pull it to whatever color you'd want, or you can type in here if you have like a brand kit like Rachel talked about earlier, and the number color, you could type that in there now. I'm just going to click on some blue, and then I'm going to go over to the other color here and I'm going to click on red. If you click down here in the pattern, you can see the different shapes. This is all changing the background and the way it looks up here. So I'm just going to click on the square shape and see if I like that. Looks okay to me. The fill again, you're going to click on, and you can kind of see how it changed now as well. It's maybe a little harder to see. So maybe you would come back here and say, oh, never mind, I want this to be white. That's looking a little bit more like a QR code. The corners, you can change the external shape. So maybe you want it to be a circle more in the corner. Maybe you don't want it to have a shape. You click on none. The fill shape, again, you can change that. And this is what I think is really cool. You can upload a logo. So I'm just going to go in here and grab one of our logos from Grow, South Dakota. Well, We're just gonna use the Zoom background because I was not well prepared. And you're gonna see how it's gonna put that in there in the center. So now you're gonna add this to the design. And you can see my very funky QR code that I created. And then I always like to test out the QR code to make sure that it is going to work. So I'm just gonna pull up my phone, open the camera app, and you're gonna see that it's gonna go to Grow, South Dakota. So going back here again to the apps, that is how you get back to apps. Kelly's saying, can you pull it from the brand kit? Well, I thought you could, and that's why I was having an issue. So I wonder if you go to uploads in your brand kit. Do you know the answer to that, Rachel?
I was just looking in here and it doesn't look like it gives you the option to pull from your brand kit
For the to the
to
QR
the
code.
QR code.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe there's something in there with the um using the app. Maybe there's that doesn't give
Mm-hmm.
you that possibility.
Oh, it could possibly be because it's not Canva,
Hmm.
it's pulling from a different app. Okay,
Right.
yeah.
It's pulling from the app and not necessarily just Canva.
Yeah. Sound is cutting out. I'm sorry. Is it better now? Okay. Okay, Kelly says it's okay. All right, now we're gonna go back into the apps again. And we're gonna choose another app to work with. Actually, since we're running short on time, we're gonna open it up to any questions. And if anybody has any specific apps that they would like to see used, we can do that in a future session. Or if you want, you can definitely just email us too, and we can answer your questions as well.
Oh, Tiffany has a good question. Do you know if there's a way to take a head from one photo and put it on another? Like if somebody had their eyes closed, I would use that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I have definitely done that before. What I would suggest doing is taking your photo and doing your background remover in a good photo, and then putting it into another photo. So let me show you actually, because I don't believe I'm explaining it well.
I definitely have the least experience of these two ladies in using Canva. But what I can just say is you just need to go in and play around and learn because, these are great tips and it's nice to know what it can do, but you just have to go play around. Like there's so many apps, like Olivia said, that it's just crazy what it can do.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I pulled up here again our photo. If I'm just gonna click on the photo, we're gonna do the background remover. And you can see here how it's just Maureen, Stephanie, and I. So then I'm gonna pull up another photo. This is just an old photo of our CEOs accepting a check. And I'm gonna click on here and go and make this the background. You wouldn't have to do that. You could do, just pull it to make it bigger. And maybe I want to detach it because it made it a little grainy. So now I'm going to bring myself to the front here. And I'm going to just cut out these other two. Now you could use the other app and click on Steph or Marine to cut them out. But since I am here already, I'm just going to pull them. So it's just me. And now I'm gonna kind of resize myself so I don't look like a giant. And I'm gonna put myself behind Marsha here. And I'm just gonna cut my head up and make myself look like I'm also holding the check here. So that's maybe not the best example, but that would be similar to what you'd want to do. It does take some time. If you use the background remover, you can go in and maybe like you want half your body cut out. You can cut it out so you're not showing in that, and you can kind of make yourself look exactly like you're behind the check there or whatever if you're behind a person. So you just kind of got to play around with it. That's a good job that I did.
And you did great. You did great for a quick example. It's great.
So I think maybe the question they were asking if, okay, there's there's two pictures of the group, right? And in one I have my eyes closed and one I don't. You could use that same thing to replace, but it has to, and you can resize, so that makes sense. So as long as my head wasn't turned differently or something.
Yeah, it just takes some like playing around with. I've done it before. We have staff that are not all in the same office. And it's really hard to get everybody together sometimes, or you have somebody who's out sick or whatever. So when we've done staff photos, I've edited in different people from different photos. And for a photo online, it works. You might have to spend a little bit more time if you were to like print it out. It might be a little bit more visible to, if you enlarged it too much. Yeah, well, thank you so much, everybody. I think we can go ahead and stop recording here.
Thanks everybody for attending.